Hi folks, we are Sophie and Philippe, two professional chefs and regenerative farmers. Currently we're setting up our second regenerative farm in central Portugal, where we grow food for our local community and share our knowledge both on the land and in the kitchen. On this channel we take you along on the farm's development and we show you how we grow, cook and preserve nutrient-dense, regeneratively grown, delicious food. In a time where the food we're eating is literally killing us, the most powerful and impactful action one could take is to consume nutrient-dense, regeneratively grown, clean food. Let's grow it, let's cook it, let's do it. Alright, today is an exciting day because we're going to make some goat's cheese at home. So we have a wonderful neighbor who has goats roaming around freely, who we buy milk from, and we are waiting for our own cows still, but until that day we are going to make it with this wonderful goat's milk. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a basic recipe and then we're going to inoculate it in a few different ways, and we're going to make a cream cheese, a hard fresh cheese and a soft goat's cheese. So that's going to be exciting. We've made cheese before, but this is the first time here in Portugal with this wonderful milk. Let's do it. We are going to start off with the same cheese base for all three cheeses, and the tools you will need are a large pot, a wooden spoon, a large strainer, clean cheesecloth, some string and a ladle. Start off by warming up your milk to 82 degrees Celsius. Then turn off the heat. Now stir in 200 milliliters of full-fat yogurt and add 300 milliliters of lemon juice. The curds will start to form instantly. Now bring back the heat for about 5 minutes and stir occasionally and gently. Then it's time to strain it into your cheesecloth, which you hang in your sieve. This is done gently and slowly. After some light pressing, we hang the hot curd to drain above the sink. After another 30 minutes, we can start making our first cheese, which we are going to inoculate with the classic chèvre cheese. While the cheese is still hot, we remove a quarter of the curds and blitz that all together with 2 tablespoons of chèvre cheese and the same amount of butter. One little sausage went to the fridge. We're going to wait until this sets up, then we're going to take the foil off and then we're going to expose it to some oxygen to get those molds going. Next up, very exciting, we're going to make another little cheese roll, but this time with some dried fruits. I have some cranberries over here, and we're going to add a little bit of yogurt to give it a nice acidic touch. And then once that is set in a roll, we're going to roll it in crushed pepper, 3 types of crushed pepper. It's going to be good. For the second cheese, we are again using the still slightly warm drained curds. Add another quarter of the total into the blender and then hang the rest of your curd to drain further. Now in the blender, add 1 cup of full-fat yogurt, 1 teaspoon of salt, you can add more salt to taste, and then blend until smooth. Now you can add in the cranberries. Pulse the whole until the cranberries are slightly broken up, and voila! The creamy, sweet and savory cheese is ready to roll into a little cylinder. In the fridge it goes. Now it's time to make our final cheese, which is a feta lookalike. It's simply made with nothing more than the remaining half of the hung curd, which is left to dry overnight in a homemade drying setup we came up with. So I have a little recipient for the liquid that is about to still drop out of here. Then I have these things that are just meant as coasters for pans. And then I have this remnant of a fresh cheese that we bought from the store. It comes with this, so that's very convenient. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a little sushi mat. We're getting real creative over here. I'm going to use that as a bottom. Then I'm going to put the cheese on top of this in its mold. I've pressed this down already quite a lot, but I'm going to press it a little more. And then we are going to place this heavy vijzel on top. Now this is going to stay like this for about 6 hours, and then we're going to have a nice thick compressed piece of feta that's going to go back in the salty way. It's the second day and it's time to perform some handlings on our little cheeses in order to get them to the point where we want them to be. We're going to kick it off with our goat cheese roll. So this one was wrapped yesterday and it is nicely firmed up. I'm going to remove the plastic and we're going to place it into this glass container. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't need to be glass, it just needs to be in container where air can come in, and then we're going to cover it, but we do want to give it a bit of oxygen and we're going to check it out every now and then to see how it's going, to refresh the air in there. And then I'm going to cover it with this beautiful gift that I got from Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. This is a beeswax cover cloth. I don't know what you would call this. Now we're going to move on to cheese number 2. So that is of course my little cranberry beauty here. Philippe is not convinced. I think that this will be delicious. So this one is a lot more soft. That's because I added the yogurt, so it's much more pliable and not so firm. What we're going to do with it now is, before I open it up, I'm going to pound the 3 colored peppercorns that we have. And then I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to roll the cheese in there and then I'm going to wrap it, and then it's basically ready to eat. About a tablespoon's worth, not too much. I'm gonna now wrap this in a bit of baking paper. This is fresh, so this can be eaten for the coming 3 days, and I recommend you eat this with some wine on a piece of toast, and if you're a child, obviously grape juice. Quickly. Now it's the time to move on to our feta cheese. So this is some of the whey that we have from yesterday. I put that in the fridge so that it wouldn't spoil, and I added 2% of salt. So this is 1 liter of liquid, that means 20 grams of salt. I added that in, stirred it around, so this is a salty whey. It should be nice and tangy. And then here we have our little cheese princess. We're going to remove it from its wrapper, the little weird construction that I made here. Look at that! That's so exciting. I'm very happy with this result. We're gonna cut this now in about 1.5 centimeters width, and then again, so that we end up with quite a lot of cubes. I'm gonna place these in here, and then I'm gonna cover it with a brine. I will be using this in salads and things and on bread. Now I'm going to put it in a jar. Into the fridge. It's 5 o'clock. I'm lying, it's actually a little bit earlier, but we're gonna pretend that it's 5 o'clock and it's time for a borreltje. So a borreltje is a Dutch word for an aperitif, and basically usually it's done around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You sit down with the people that you love, you have a little snack, something to drink, and just sort of come down, relax and talk about how your day went. Today we're going to do that under the pleasure of a plate of homemade cheeses. So I'm very excited. Let's get them out of the fridge. I'm going to show you the result and then we're going to have a little taste test. All right, so I'm going to make 3 little separate sort of presentations of this. First off, we're going to start with our little crumbly feta-like cheese. I'm not going to call it feta because it isn't actually pure feta, like it isn't made the exact traditional way, but this is a great homemade cheese that you could make that is basically sour and salty and perfect for on a tomato salad. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a nice little tomato salad, and that's great now because we're in the midst of tomato season. We've got all these beautiful different varieties and we're just gonna make the whole thing pop and see if this cheese does it any justice. I'm assuming yes. All right, so all the tomatoes are cut into thin slices. Let's assemble. wonderful borreltje. Now is the time to grate these cheeses. So we had a little debate going on and everybody had a different opinion about it. So for me, the winners are the chèvre, so basically the goat's cheese that had the butter added to it. It's very creamy and it's really quite spicy, and I'm convinced that if we leave it longer in the fridge, it will just get better and better. Then we have our more acidic cranberry and pepper roll. Now that was my favorite personally. The rest of the crowd, especially the kids, didn't like it very much, but that's due to the pepper. Philippe also liked that one. And then we have our little feta wannabe. So this was very nice. It's very mild. It has more of a mozzarella flavor, but the saltiness from the brine gives it that extra kick. And I think if this cures for a little longer, so this is cured now for little less than a week. I think if we would cure it for another week and a half, it will get more salty to the core, and that would also improve its quality. But if you're a mild cheese lover, then this is a very, smooth and acceptable for most palates. So I would say that this is the friend of everyone. Then we have our little goat's cheese roll, which is spicy, a lot of character and very creamy. And then the last one is like acidic and has a punch of sweetness and a kick of the pepper, which I personally love because it's like in your face. All right, folks, and that was it for our little cheese making adventure. Behind the scenes, there is a lot going on. We are preserving, we are harvesting, we are also getting on with a lot of the farm development. We're filming all of it, so don't worry, it is going to get brought to you in due time. So we are officially back and we are going to pump out content again. Thank you for the little break. I really enjoyed it, and Philippe as well. He really needs it for his recovery. Unfortunately, his recovering process isn't going as smoothly as we would have hoped, but we are in good spirits and all will be well. Okay, so see you on the next one. The Farming Chefs. Peace out.